I want to end off with my favorite segment of all time. We call it a take for 99, where we give you a very expensive take for a cheap price. We can talk about a topic in further detail that we already discussed, or we can come up with something else. And I'm gonna throw this up to whoever wants it first. Who wanna knock it
I'll
out the
jump
park?
in. I'll
All
jump
right,
in
go
there.
ahead, Cuzzo.
I'll jump in. My take for 99 cents is coaching, right? Should we really put these coaches on display because they not playing. They're not on the field, right? They put together a game plan. They do so the team can go out and execute this game plan, right? Yeah, they got to make some calls. They got to make some judgment calls. But at the end of the day, why we hold them so accountable when the players is playing the game? Great players bail out coaches all the time. And we call them Hall of Fame coaches. Great players do it all the time. Tom Brady bailed out Bill Belichick multiple times, right? But we call him the greatest coach of all times, right? Michael Jordan might have bailed out Phil Jackson multiple times, but we call him the greatest coach of all times. Great coaches get bailed out by great players. So should these coaches be held accountable at the highest of levels? Should we be coming at them with tremendous amount of scrutiny? If you got a disciplined team that's winning, but then they fold in the clutch, is that coaching or is that players? You understand what I'm saying? And we come down on these coaches really, really hard. So I say that to say this. Nick Sirianni, Philadelphia head coach. He takes a lot of heat, but he keeps winning. And that's kind of weird. So we're going to get a credit to the talent, because if we're going to do that, go across the board, get a credit to the talent all the time. But at the end of the day, he's still a head coach. I can give you a Hall of Fame head coach. Hall of Fame head coach. Went to 4 Super Bowls, never won it. Marv Levy, ton of talent. Bruce Smith, Cornelius Bennett, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, James Lofton, never won a Super Bowl. Okay? But he's still a Hall of Fame head coach. So just because winning at the end, because they failed on the field, we never blame Marv Levy, and I don't think we should. We got to be careful when we blaming these coaches when people are not executing the play. Okay? Nick Sirianni was going for it on 4th down in 2022. Almost every single time with the push-tush, it was working. Nobody said nothing. We rolled right all the way to the Super Bowl. Nobody said anything. Now that he's still doing the exact same thing and then it fails, oh, he's a horrible coach. He don't know what he's doing. What are we doing? Are they executing the play or is it coaching? So my take for 99 cents is it's a thin line when we criticize these coaches, because great coaches get bailed out by great players. And sometimes Hall of Fame coaches get let down by great players. And that's my take for 99 cents.
Zach, I'll let you begin. That was a good take.
It was, and it just proves to be true time in and time out. I think of the 2 teams that really came to mind for the most disappointing teams for me. 2 teams that I think are very similar, the Jets and the Bears. 2 teams with a lot of talent, 2 teams with very high expectations, and I think their season has just been sabotaged by poor coaching. And you see guys just around the league. I just think when you look at the candidates this year too, there are going to be a lot of teams looking for head coaches. I'll tell you what, whichever team hires Mike Vrabel, that's going to be one of my big winners this offseason.
Absolutely.
They get a glorified winner, a guy that's going to be a difference maker, and I'm curious to see where he goes. It's very rare to have a guy like that. And even I want to throw one more name out there. I know he's old. I know people might think he's washed up and he's done, but I would hire Pete Carroll as my team's coach this offseason in a second. That's a guy that's won Super Bowls. That's a guy that's proven he can connect with players in the locker room. And he's a guy that's a proven winner that I'd love to have in my building each and every time. My take for 99, though, and this is a team that we brought up throughout the show a little bit, and I just wanted to expand on it. I'm really going to just throw a question out there, and my take is this question for me is going to be one of the biggest questions I'm going to be monitoring throughout the offseason, is just, what is John Mara going to do with the New York Giants? Because I think he has just a number of crucial decisions to be made. Number one, a couple weeks ago, and we spoke about it on the show, Joe Shane had a press conference. It was after they lost that game in Germany to the Panthers. Obviously a very disappointing, embarrassing loss. And in that press conference, he just seemed like a guy that was confident in his job security. And you could understand why, considering John Mara gave him some confidence, saying him and Brian Daboll are going to be back. They're the duo long term. And I think that John Mara told them, you guys are going to have the opportunity to find and draft your quarterback of the future. But I'll tell you what, if we see 5 to 6 more weeks of the Giants being that same team that we saw on Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're not going to stay here for this long. And that starts on Thursday, Thanksgiving. I know we're saying it already. Oh, the Giants and the Cowboys, Tommy DeVito against Cooper Rush. That's going to be the worst Thanksgiving Day game in the history of the NFL. I'm actually intrigued by it because the Giants better not get embarrassed by the Dallas Cowboys. At least the Cowboys went into Washington this past week and showed some pride. I'm not confident that the Giants are going to be able to do that again this week. So Mara has a key decision to make with Daboll and Shane. I'm not confident they're going to be back. And then we talk about the quarterback. Like, personally, I'm going to say it right now. I think Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in this class by far and away. And if I'm the New York Giants, I'm trying my best to get him. But we know it's coming with Shedeur Sanders. It's the Deion effect. It's, everything that's going to follow along. It's going to be a circus. The cameras are going to be all over the place. And that is really the antithesis of this New York Giants franchise, at least throughout most of their history. But for the past decade, ever since that boat game in Green Bay, there's just been a ton of chaos around this franchise. And I'm just curious, what is John Mara going to do? Is he going to embrace that chaos and try to take a risk and hit a home run at quarterback by bringing in Shedeur? Or is he going to take the safe way out and maybe go for a Cam Ward? Because there aren't even many other options. And you have to draft a quarterback, no matter how you feel about them. That's why they should have taken one last offseason. So that's my take. My eyes are on John Mara this offseason. I think he has a ton of key decisions to make because the Giants, we've been talking about them a lot. They're just at the face of the chaos around the league right now. I think it's a crucial offseason for them, and we still have a bunch of football left to be played.
Yeah, I'm going to respond to that in less than 30 seconds. Both of you guys take. I'm starting with Cuzzo. I'm curious to know. You don't have to answer it, only if you want to at the end of my take, because I'm going to try to kill three birds with one stone. But I'm curious to know your take on Gerard Mayo's statement when he said, I can't do nothing for these players when they touch the football field. I think he got a lot of flack for that. People was calling him a bad coach, but you kind of said it in your take. I mean, the players got to play, right? With Zach, when it comes to the Giants, I mean, you look at the Cowboys and the Giants coming up in a couple of days. Mike McCarthy's squad did not quit on him. They won against the Commanders when they wasn't supposed to. But Brian Daboll, what happened to your squad? They quit on you. The lack of effort, it was evident. But anyway, I'm going to go to the NBA for this one, for my take for 99. And look, I'm a Knicks fan. You know it, right? Ask the poet. That's my team, But look, the Jazz had what the Knicks needed, but history is doomed to be repeated. First things first. Let's give Leon Rose a shout out for being the architect of this current modernized Knicks renaissance right now. The return on investments thus far has been good. Obviously, with Jalen Brunson, we all know his game, OG Anunoby, that trade, the cat trade. But one of the under-the-radar gambles that we made thus far that's proven to be successful is giving OG Anunoby that $212.5 million contract. Seems pretty hefty, right, for OG Anunoby? But so far, the return on investment has been very good. I mean, my guy is a scoring machine this year. He's known for his defense. But the last 2 games, 27 points against, I believe it was the Kings, right? No. Against the Jazz, 27 points. Last night, 40 points. 40. So he's averaging 20 points per game this month. So you add this scoring surge along with his defense and his defense not being impacted by his offense, that's a good two-way player right now. However, I want to talk about Mikal Bridges. Notice I haven't brought him up in that conversation of calculated moves by Leon Rose because obviously I didn't mention it for a reason, okay? Look, I'm not going to overreact to Mikal Bridges being in a slump right now, right? He was benched in the fourth quarter a couple games ago. He went 2 for 8 from three-point land last night against the Nuggets. But the reality is he's going to find his form, I would assume. However, instead of making that move for Mikal Bridges, we should have did a deal with the Jazz for either Lauri Markkanen or Kessler, right? I think that would have been the perfect move for us to make. But we all know that wasn't going to happen. Why wasn't it going to happen? Because history is doomed to be repeated. A couple years ago, we wanted to trade for Donovan Mitchell. We thought it was not a matter of if, but when. But in the middle of negotiations with Danny Ainge, okay, to pick Bandit, we paid RJ Barrett. He got spiteful and traded him to Cleveland, right? History is doomed to be repeated. We should have did a deal with them. I still believe that we could use a guy like Kessler, a big to put Cat to the floor, but the reality is it's not going to happen. Why? Because we know the history from a couple years ago, and that's my take for 99 cent.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
I'll respond. Is there because the thing that always fascinated me about the Knicks offseason is they made those 2 trades, and I was just wondering, when they made that Bridges trade, did they know the next move for Cat was going to be coming? Because I thought the whole appeal of trading for Mikal Bridges was you were literally going to add the final piece of that Villanova core and have those 4 guys playing together. Now, when it comes to the Cat trade, my opinion has always been you had to find a way to dump Julius Randle, and I think getting rid of him was a good thing. And I know DiVincenzo hasn't been great so far in Minnesota, but he was a guy that was so valuable to the Knicks last year, and I hate the fact that they had to give him up. And also, Mitchell Robinson has to get back on the court. I think that's a guy that the Knicks really need to protect the rim. It's apparent to me that they're really just lacking that true 5. So I'm just wondering, Leon Rose made all these big moves, but did he know they were going to be coming? Did he make that Bridges trade knowing, okay, we're going to also add Karl Anthony Towns? Because that Cat trade came out of nowhere. I know he's always been linked to the Knicks, but especially so close to the season, did anyone see that coming? And I just wonder how they're going to make that.
I seen it coming, not when it happened, but I knew it was coming because back in 2016, it was a bunch of NBA executives. They said they would rather build their team with Cat over LeBron, over Kevin Durant. Now, obviously, Cat hasn't lived up to that, hype. He got demoted to the number 3 on the Timberwolves with the Rudy Gobert trade, with Ant being the face of the franchise. But we always liked this game. We always wanted to make that happen. It was always going to be a matter of when, especially considering his financial obligations. When you talk about his franchise being paid supermax money as a number 3, it was always realistic. The timing was just the shocking part of it on a Friday night. However, I will say this: the Mikal Bridges trade seemed like a panic move, like an antsy move. I won't say panic, but antsy. 5 first-round picks for a non-All-Star to me was always a risk, and hopefully he could get out of that slump.
Yeah, he's in a little slump. One thing I would say about this Cat trade, it juiced the Knicks. It juiced them to think further than second round, I think. And now, right now, I know they still back and forth trying to figure out what they, type of team they are. So you got to give them some time to get some continuity together. You know what I mean? But I think it juiced this team to think higher than second round. With Julius Randle, I always thought second round. No, we made the playoffs. We did it.
Yeah, I mean, Cat, offensively, he's playing some of the best basketball of his career. If he can just give you a little bit more on the defensive end, I mean, he's an all-star this year.
He's all-star, definitely.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap up this show with this all-star squad here. Cuzzo, Zach, it was a good one. Happy Thanksgiving, you guys. Happy Thanksgiving to people watching the show. My guy, Kenny. And I'm looking forward to the next show that we do. Enjoy, y'all.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.